In the beginning, darkness was on the face of the earth. And God said, "Let there be light." And God created creatures of every kind. But humanity has exploited his creation in the name of the almighty dollar. Until today, thousands of species are on the brink of extinction. But there are those who are acting to save endangered species before it's too late.
Hawaii, one of the most beautiful and most isolated chain of islands on Earth. Born of ancient volcanoes, millions of years on, burning lava still molds this Pacific paradise. For its size and because of its extreme isolation, Hawaii is one of the most biologically unique places on the planet. Around 90% of the native flora and fauna is found nowhere else on Earth. Many of the archipelago's first plants and animals survived a marathon journey, crossing more than 2,000 miles of open ocean to get here. On average, just one new species arrived every 70,000 years. At first, the aloha life was simple and safe. There were few predators. Species evolved without defenses. Plants lost their thorns, insects lost their stings. Then humanity arrived. Nearly 7 million visitors a year invade the Hawaiian Islands to experience this dream destination. It's a playground for the rich and the famous. However, things aren't perfect in paradise. Humanity has carved a history of habitat destruction and hunting, development and pollution. But perhaps worst of all has been the introduction of thousands of alien species. Over the past 200 years, the foreign invaders have been largely responsible for wiping out hundreds of island plant, bird, snail and insect species.
Aloha e ano ai kupa aina o maui. Aloha e ano ai e ho mai kaiki mai luna mai e
Reverend Charles Maxwell says, with around 3/4 of the United States losses coming from Hawaii, his homeland is fast becoming the islands of mass extinction.
In all the United States, we're the worst. We're the islands that lost the most endangered species here in Hawaii. And it's numerous factors. It's not just one. We have too many people. That's the main problem. Is too many people are coming here. Too many people are building. They're building highways. The garbage system, they gotta improve. There's no garbage. They're running out of space. And we're having the same problem as urban America. And people want to run away from LA to come here. But it's becoming an LA very fast.
Hawaii was once ruled by kings and queens. Pele Hanoa and her daughter Keolalani are descendants from island royalty. The family has been on this land for 9 generations. They have seen their world change and now fear the worst.
We grew up all learning about fishing and about the importance of the land, the sea, the creatures to us. And once they disappear, and once our land disappears, so will we. So we're fighting for survival, just like the endangered species are.
Many locals believe this is graphic proof of humanity's impact in Hawaii and on one of the Earth's oldest living species. A gruesome, mysterious tumor plague has been ravaging the local green sea turtles for decades. Fibropapilloma, or FP, is a cruel disease. Under this mask of tumours lies the face of a green turtle, or honu, as the Hawaiians call them. Here, tumours around the reptile's eyes have fused with others on its mouth. The growths can balloon to a staggering 30-centimetre diameter, attacking inside and out, blinding and choking. Even invading the heart, causing cardiac arrest. In other cases, the tumours make feeding difficult, and some animals end up starving to death.
We have removed tumors as heavy as 4 pounds off of one turtle's jaw, and it's done well, although sometimes these tumors grow back. We see some very nasty tumors of the eye where the eye is completely gone, and tumors of the jaw that have migrated into the bone, eaten away the bone. And some are really quite pathetic cases that we see. The dead tissue and everything, so.
Veterinarian Dr. Bob Morris runs the Mackay Animal Clinic on Oahu. Many of the worst cases of FP are brought to him.
Plus, the turtle is,
he can remove some of the tumours, but most are inoperable. And for these victims, there is no alternative. They are euthanized. This bay on Hawaii's most populated island, Oahu, is a beautiful but sad place. Once pristine, now infested with alien and invasive seaweeds, it is an FP hotspot. Many of the green turtles here have been infected with the disease.
All the waste, the pollution that we have in the ocean, and that's what the turtles are getting onto the turtles. And that's the reason why they have tumors on them. Normally, we never had those things. We swim with a turtle all our life, and we never had sea turtle with tumors.
In trying to identify the cause of FP and how it works, researchers have considered the role of Hawaii's busy little cleaner fish, investigating whether they are spreading the virus as they groom their marine mates. Typically, when turtles want to be cleaned, they go into a 4-point posture, extending body parts to make their flesh available to the fish.
It has been shown that some of the cleaner fish have the virus that's associated with it. We just don't know how it's transmitted. Now, whether it's a pollution factor or some other toxic factor that lowers the resistance of the turtles to the disease and makes them more prone to it. We do know they're immunosuppressed, the turtles that do have fibropapilloma.
So while scientists have some of the answers, they still don't know where it comes from or how it got so out of hand. FP has been described as one of the most significant causes of death and disease in marine turtles. It is a serious epidemic. Dr. Terry Work is a wildlife disease specialist with the National Wildlife Health Centre.
He's been refrigerated.
He examines the corpses of FP victims. This 10-year-old female turtle has internal and external tumours. A single growth weighs around 800 grams.
This tumor, where I would say, is about 15 centimeters in diameter, roughly. It's a complicated disease to study because we don't have an ability to isolate the agent which we suspect is causing the disease, in which case it's herpes virus, which we know is associated with the tumors. So from that standpoint, it's very difficult to study because if you can't isolate the infectious agent which is associated with the disease, it's very difficult to prove that this agent is causing this disease. And so that's what's been a major roadblock. And it's very challenging from that standpoint. The other challenge with this disease is that there's a portion of the life history of sea turtles for which we have no idea what is going on. They hatch as hatchlings, they go out to sea, and we don't know where they go, so we have this mysterious period between 4 to 6 years where they disappear. And so we're not really sure how that works as well. And because we don't know part of the life history, it makes it difficult to understand the complete ecology of that disease.
Dr. Work believes the development of a blood test for these ancient reptiles will be vital. It will give researchers the ability to go out into the field and take samples to determine whether the turtles have been exposed to the virus or not. With evidence that FP has a global distribution, a test could also help the species worldwide. Animals with tumours have been found in Florida, Australia and Barbados. But whether it's the same herpes virus or whether the disease can be transmitted between species remains an open question. If it can, FP could be catastrophic. But it's not all bad news. Nature can be amazing. Off the island of Maui, turtle enthusiasts have spent years tracking local populations. They now have strong evidence that, in some cases, the tumours are in fact disappearing. Nui, as is known, was full of tumours in 1992. By 1994, they had shrunk significantly, and by 2001, he appeared tumour-free. But nobody knows why. It's just another part of the FP puzzle. While researchers continue trying to solve this mystery, they are encouraged by the fact that Hawaii's green sea turtles are proving to be remarkably resilient. Protected in the US since the 1970s, a local study has revealed that despite FP, populations have increased.
As far as the long-term effects of fibropapilloma, I think it's too early to tell. These animals are very long-lived animals, and this disease affects mainly immature animals. So I think the jury is still out as to what's going to happen down the line.
The money for the research is limited, and the more funding, of course, the sooner we'll come to the end and find out what's going on with the turtles.
Bred in captivity, these tiny hatchlings have escaped the curse of FP. Just a day old, they're on their way to being released and will soon boost the healthy green turtle population.
Hi, Antonio.
The little reptiles form part of a unique program at Hawaii's Sea Life Park.
He's strong. And mine's Leon.
They come from a tumor-free breeding colony that produces between 200 and 600 young every year, and it's hoped they will remain disease-free.
1, 2, 3. Oh!
Limited funding, however, has meant a similar plan to help save one of the world's most endangered sea turtles, the hawksbill or honuea, has not been established locally. Some of the human help for this rare creature comes in the form of dedicated volunteers. They're the backbone of a successful monitoring program run by the Hawaii Volcanoes National Park. On this remote black sand beach on Hawaii's Big Island, a team is excavating a hawksbill nest. The normal incubation period for this species averages 60 days. This nest of eggs is 30 days overdue.
We didn't hit the egg chamber yet, so we're still finding, we might find a few more dead ones, hopefully not.
The fate of Hawaii's hawksbills lies in the eggs of just 60 nesting females.
Say something cool.
Ooh.
Incredibly, in a rare and magical moment, one by one, the tiny turtles are brought to the surface.
This is awesome. We found a live baby honuea.
The joy is short-lived though, and the team becomes anxious as they get to within inches of striking the main egg chamber. It soon gives up its sad secret.
There's one dead one here. 39 here.
It's disappointing, but this is nature's way. The dig continues, and eventually more survivors emerge. For such an endangered species, despite the fact that so many of the baby turtles had perished, this is an encouraging result. The hatchlings owe their lives to the volunteers of this critical program, 99% of whom come from the US mainland. Larry Katahira is a hawksbill expert with the National Park Service. He wants more locals to get involved to appreciate the incredible creatures in their own backyard. Unlike their cousins, the green turtles, Hawaii's hawksbills have not been affected by the FP plague. They face bigger threats, from the development of nesting beaches and introduced predators like the mongoose. And something even more sinister. Beauty is the hawksbill's biggest enemy. Worldwide, they have been slaughtered for their glorious shell. Poaching is not a big problem in Hawaii, but it could be. Larry believes the way to save the species locally is education.
I think there's a lack of that Hawaii conservation biology that's taught in the school. I think it definitely should be increased from elementary to high school.
And education may also help save Hawaii's adorable monk seals. It's 3 a.m. and one of the world's rarest seals, a monk from the main Hawaiian Islands, is being loaded onto a charter boat for a 6-hour journey out to a secret location.
Let's not take off too much pressure.
There are just 1,300 of these creatures left, and that makes the curious characters amongst the rarest and most endangered marine mammals on the planet. This inquisitive juvenile, known as RM34, was caught whilst interacting with swimmers. He was looking for a potential mate. No officials, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, has been called in to move him to where experts hope he'll learn to mix with his own kind.
Good luck, buddy. Free of the prop.
Fitted with a satellite transmitter, NOAA's Brad Ryan will be able to track RM34 to make sure he stays clear of people.
He's out. Thanks for going up your radio. Thanks very much. We got a good signal on him.
No one knows exactly how many monk seals once inhabited the Hawaiian archipelago. There may have been as many as tens of thousands. But by the 1950s, hunting, human disturbance of pupping beaches, and some US military operations had compromised the species' ability to thrive. Today, government agencies have established safe zones. They have banned some types of fishing, particularly near sensitive seal sites. Rehabilitated and released female seals to bolster population growth, and relocated vulnerable pups from areas where there's a high risk of shark attack. And perhaps most importantly, they have had a massive cleanup, removing mountains of marine debris and rubbish. These measures have slowed the population decline and brought a period of stability to the species. But in recent years, numbers have once again started to drop, proving even more needs to be done if the Hawaiian monk seal is to survive.
Entanglement of marine debris, shark predation, all play into it. But another probably very important factor is the inability to forage successfully. And many of the seals that we find on the beaches, either from necropsies or just give evidence, strong evidence, they're emaciated. So just the inability to find food or to forage successfully is one of the factors that we think is key in influencing the survival or mortality of some of these younger seals.
Dr. Bud Antonellis is Chief of the Protective Species Division of NOAA's Pacific Islands Fisheries Science Centre. He's part of a team working on an urgent monk seal recovery plan, including a unique scheme to rescue pups.
Unlike programs in the past where we actually brought pups into captivity to Oahu to fatten them up, the Second Chance program will be conducted in a way that will actually do the work in the field. We'll construct near-shore pens and actually fatten the seals up in situ, in their natural environment for several months, and then release them on site without ever bringing them back into a more populated area like we have on Oahu.
Researchers suspect seals in the remote northwestern Hawaiian Islands are facing fierce competition for food from other top predators like sharks and large reef fish. Seals around the main islands may not be facing the same problem. They appear to be thriving. Some experts now believe this small subpopulation could be vital to the recovery of the species. But this group has entered dangerous ground, exposing the entire species to potential new threats. Oahu is one of the most popular tourist destinations in the world. Here, seals are surrounded by busy beaches and frantic boat traffic. They even have to contend with ships that run aground. NOAA's Margaret Akamine admits the situation is potentially disastrous.
These can affect the monk seals directly and affect their habitat, especially when there's fuel, oil, and other debris spilled into the environment. The animals are curious. We have had instances when the animals have approached debris, vessel debris in the water, and we do have a team of emergency response people ready to go.
Hawaii's spectacular marine life, including the shy monk seal, is a huge drawcard in the region's multi-billion-dollar tourism industry. Local operators ensure the sea creatures and seals are not harassed or disturbed because interfering with monk seals is a federal offence, carrying big fines and jail sentences. It's tough, but there's a lot at stake. This first-time mother has a strong bond with her newborn and will defend him at all costs. But if she is disturbed by people, it could be tragic. She may abandon her youngster, leaving him to die. Or try to move her little pup to an area where he might be vulnerable to shark attack. That's why strategies to save the main island monk seals include giving them some space in roped-off safety zones. But closing sections on some of Hawaii's most popular tourist beaches can be controversial. However, it is crucial. It's all about building a culture of coexistence, where swimmers learn to share the sea and the shores with seals by giving them a wide berth. Even with that protection, wildlife defenders like Gretchen Johnson still fear disease from domestic pets could be devastating.
Of just the possibility of transferring diseases, perhaps a dog is carrying distemper and the seal, if it was bit, could get distemper, and if it was spread around to other seals, it could be catastrophic to the whole species. And that's But I think we have to pronounce to everybody that one dog bite could kill the whole species.
Saving seals from introduced threats is just part of the recovery program. They also need to be protected from themselves. At times, aggressive males mob females, leaving them scarred, even fatally injured. In an attempt to protect the population, some males are relocated in the wild. Others, like spruce here, who are repeat offenders, may be moved into captivity.
In cases where relocation has not been possible, the last resort has been to euthanize the males, and that's not our choice. And in over 30 cases, we've actually been able to successfully relocate males without them coming back and having an impact on the population.
At Waikiki Aquarium, research is being conducted on captive animals. Aquarium biologist Kimberly Crucial believes it will play a vital role in saving the seal species.
The ultrasound is a way for us to measure the thickness of the blubber layer. All marine mammals, except for the sea otter, carry a layer of fat right underneath their skin. It's very important. It helps them regulate their buoyancy, that is, stay afloat. It also allows them a resource in times of fasting. And it's a very dynamic layer in that they move this layer around throughout the year and throughout seasons. So by measuring its thickness, we get an idea of how these animals are using their energy throughout the year.
Protecting sea creatures everywhere means saving the world's coral reefs. The reef is like a mother to all marine life, providing food and shelter, a place to grow and play. But big areas of this unique underwater world are under siege. From coastal development, marine tourism, alien seaweed, and overfishing. Vital creatures like the Triton trumpet snail are disappearing off the reefs. Its spectacular shell is irresistible to traders. Collectors pay around $200 for a specimen this size. Human greed has seen stocks plundered to a point where the Triton trumpet snail may soon be a candidate for Hawaii's growing threatened and endangered species list. But one of the biggest threats to life below the waterline is the alien algae or seaweed. It is superior, dominant and competitive. It's a superweed, and native species don't stand a chance. This is believed to be one of the rarest corals in the world. It's the only piece left. It is priceless. Over time, colonies of the species have been overgrown and eaten out by the introduced weed. According to David Gulko, a reef expert with Hawaii's Department of Land and Natural Resources, the alien algae is causing a domino effect.
Is we saw that a lot of the sea turtles that used to be characterized as being in this area, their sleeping holes are filled in with this algae. They don't have a place to sleep. The cleaning stations, there was a cleaning station right out here where the turtles used to come and they would sit in the water and let fish come and clean things off of them, mostly seaweed. Those cleaning stations are gone, and the reason is that the algae has covered over the dominant coral in the area that was used as a visual marker to signify that cleaning station.
In a move to control its spread, volunteers hand-pick alien seaweed off the reefs. Experts are also investigating the use of native biological controls. The plan is to bring in sea urchins or fish to graze on the remaining algae, to give the native species a chance to recover. Ironically, another threat to Hawaii's endangered species may in fact help save them: the almighty dollar, or rather, the fear of losing it. Dr. Jennifer Smith, a marine biologist from the University of Hawaii, has spent 6 years studying invasive seaweeds and warns they could be economically crippling.
One specific species of seaweed is causing such problems on Maui, it washes up on the shore on some popular beaches where it then rots and creates a really foul odor, and it prevents tourists and other locals from using the beaches. And a recent economic study identified that the state or the county of Maui is losing $20 million a year because of this species.
But the cost could be more than just financial. It could lead to the loss of some magnificent colour, life and beauty. The Maui Ocean Centre showcases native and endemic Hawaiian marine life. Curator John Gorman believes it's important to give people a sense of appreciation, to inspire conservation. He argues more needs to be done to protect Hawaii's unique reefs.
There seems to be a sense that reserves really work. You know, not only do they conserve what's there, but they want, if you want, they conserve a breeding population that can enhance the other areas outside of the reserve. And I think that is something that we definitely need here in the Hawaiian Islands.
When the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor in 1941, Hawaii experienced the devastation of war. In this new century, another kind of battle is being waged on the island shores. The new enemy is not bombs and bullets, but it is just as deadly.
The cigarette butts get eaten by the turtles. The turtles digest them, and it gives the turtles mercury poisoning, which kills the turtles.
It's estimated that around 14 billion pounds of garbage a year is dumped in and around the world's oceans. Turtles are jagged with fishhooks and tangled in dumped lines. As these animals struggle to free themselves, the nets wind tighter, eventually eating into their bones. X-rays reveal it sliced the turtle's flesh as clean as a knife. Many flippers cannot be saved and must be amputated.
You'd best take it right at the shoulder joint. They just do so much better. I've found over time, and it heals faster and you have less complications. How's this breathing doing? Okay?
Yeah, he's totally good.
It's this kind of senseless injury the international organisation Save Our Seas wants to stop. Executives Steve Voris and Paul Clark are campaigning to have the magnificent waters around Kauai declared a marine life conservation district.
This place should be protected now. It should be that way. But this is happening worldwide as well. So there's just seems to be so much political process to establish these places. And yes, you do need monitoring and scientific facts. However, it's better to address the problem right in the beginning and then collect all the data later. It should be protected. We all know that. The government knows that. And we should be taking faster action for sure. If we don't do it now, it's going to be too late.
Above the waves, more of Hawaii's magnificent creatures need urgent help. Since the first human contact, up to 75% of the island's original birds have become extinct or are now endangered. 13 of Hawaii's native forest birds have populations of less than 50 individuals. Some are referred to as the living dead. Habitat loss is a major problem for the Hawaiian crow, the alala. Some supporters believe it is the most intelligent bird on Earth. It's certainly one of the most critically endangered. At one point, there were just 12 alala left in the forest. Today, they are believed to be extinct in the wild. The only birds of their kind now live at Hawaii's Keauhou Bird Conservation Centre. A successful captive breeding program has seen alala numbers climb to around 40. Administered by the Zoological Society of San Diego, the facility and the alala program have the support of US government agencies. But Alan Lieberman, the director of Hawaii's Endangered Bird Conservation Program, admits even that kind of help can't solve the problem of a tiny gene pool.
We're getting chicks now who are hatched without eyes and with beaks that are malformed and with generally less vigorous conditions, leg deformities, and these are all pretty classic signs of inbreeding. So what we're getting are, let's say, substandard chicks that we're asking a lot of. Like, you know, not only are you substandard, but you have to grow up and be productive.
Despite that, the breeding program will continue. The alternative is letting the alala slide into extinction. The Keauhou Centre houses 9 species of endemic Hawaiian songbirds. 8 are endangered. The wild population of the tiny Maui parrotbill is estimated at between just 500 and 1,500. This little bird will move the equivalent of boulders with its strong beak to get at food. And meet the shy palila. The entire world population of this honey creeper survives on just one slope of one mountain on one Hawaiian island. A single hurricane could wipe out the entire species. As well as natural disasters, these little birds are also under threat from another introduced killer, the mosquito. Once a sea level organism, mosquitoes are evolving so they can fly higher, carrying avian diseases with them, and the forest birds are running out of space.
It's been very well confirmed that as the mosquito population goes up in elevation, the bird populations start to disappear. And that's primarily why you see no native Hawaiian birds at sea level up to about 4,000 feet.
On the island of Kauai, mosquitoes and other alien pests are widely blamed for playing a role in the extinction of not only birds, but plants as well. Mystical Limahuli Garden was the dream of Chipper Wickman's late grandmother. She wanted to preserve this 1,000-acre valley as a living classroom for future generations, but her vision is under threat from introduced species.
When we first started working with this genus about 25 years ago, there were 60 left growing on the Napali coast. Today there's less than 10. And one of the problems with this plant is it's adapted to a pollinator, which is a moth with a very long tongue. And that moth seems to be, in its larval form, host specific on another native plant which has gone extinct. So as that plant went extinct, the pollinator went extinct, and now this plant is completely dependent upon us. It normally grows on extreme sea cliffs, so we've had to literally rappel down the cliffs to hand pollinate with a little paintbrush these blossoms, and then come back a month later to collect the seeds. So this plant here was grown from seeds collected on the Napali coast after rappelling down, and we've now got about 300 of these growing in our garden here. And so we're protecting it here, but ultimately we need to take it back to being able to live on the Napali coast, which is not possible at this point because of all the goats down there that eat these. to the goat, this looks like a cabbage on the end of a baseball bat, and it's looks pretty appetizing. So the goats really have nearly driven this plant into extinction.
Nearly 300 Hawaiian plant species are now listed as threatened or endangered. 100 have fewer than 20 individuals surviving in the wild.
It's a pretty sad day when you watch these things. The last known one in the wild goes extinct. It's like losing a friend, part of your family.
Stopping alien plants and animals will help many of Hawaii's endangered species, including the nene goose. In the 1950s, the nene population was down to just 11 birds. Hunting had nearly wiped them out. Now, thanks to protection and captive breeding, numbers have climbed to around 1,300. But that's not enough. Hawaii's state bird is still the 6th most endangered waterfowl species in the world. Today, introduced predators like the mongoose and the cat prey on these birds, tearing their victims apart.
We've seen birds mourn the loss of a mate for up to a week. It's generally standing in the same position or the same location with the carcass and kind of wailing and moaning this pretty heart-wrenching call. And yeah, we've seen it go on for up to a week.
Biological technician Kathleen Sherry believes one way to help save wild flocks will be better predator control. It's early morning and teams of men and dogs venture into the island's wilderness to eradicate what is arguably Hawaii's worst feral pest, the pig. These hunters are part of the National Park Service Pig Control Program, and Keola Medeiros is the hunt leader.
We're just going to walk along this fence line and then we're going to cut in.
This is prime pig country, an ancient jungle of native Hawaiian ferns called hapu. Here, the pigs are on a mission to destroy, tearing at the ferns and creating wallows that become breeding grounds for mosquitoes. Today, the dogs have quickly picked up a pig's scent.
Yeah, the dog's got one right now. Just grabbing him.
Within minutes, the dogs have their prey surrounded.
There. You see this dog, she doesn't want to leave the pig.
While the eradication program is controversial, there is a strong argument that by stopping the destructive pigs and therefore limiting the marshy mosquito breeding grounds, some of Hawaii's endangered species will have a better chance of survival. Made up of 132 islands and atolls spread over 1,500 miles, Hawaii is home to around 1/3 of all of the United States' endangered flora and fauna. It's not surprising then that the Aloha State has earned itself the unenviable title of Endangered Species Capital of the World.
I'm afraid there won't be anything for our children later. And I'm 43 years old and teaching all my students about the significance of their culture and how rich their heritage is. And it saddens me, but we're not going to give up. My mother's 80 years old and told us that we cannot give up until we die.
So it's not too late to save Hawaii. Hope lies with the island's children, the leaders of the future.
I have faith, not in our generation, we're old, but I have faith in the youth. I think the young people are the ones that's going to help to bring back everything, to ecologically balance our earth.
the next generation of kids. We're teaching them to be reef keepers and protectors of the ocean. And when they finish high school, when they finish school, they have that conscious level of thinking that conservation is a way of life.
There you go, good. There you go.
Remember the turtles, tangled in discarded fishing nets, their flippers amputated. These ancient mariners learned to adjust and balance when they returned to the sea. Like these turtles, Hawaii can survive and recover. It has a second chance.
We need to put a lot more effort into restoration projects around the state. We really have to begin taking degraded areas and restoring them so that we have places to outplant these rare and endangered plants.
We've lost the Caribbean monk seal in the last 50 years. The population of the Mediterranean monk seal is down to just a few hundred animals, and the Hawaiian monk seal is one of the last places where we actually have a chance to save this species that's been on our planet for 15 million years.
The goal would be to see increased number of nests every year, to see the hatchlings that we release today, to someday, to 25 years from now perhaps, come back here if we can, if I'm still can come back here and see that hatchling come back as an adult to lay eggs. I think that's the ultimate success story.
For the groups who face constant setbacks, a fight for funds and a battle for resources, that kind of success might seem a long way off. But with everyone working towards the same goal, the endangered plants and animals in one of the most beautiful places on Earth can be saved. Hawaii can turn from paradise lost to paradise regained because of the people who are already acting before it's too late.